Welcome to CrimePod Castle's Twisted Love series. In this deep dive, we're going to unpack a case from 2019. It really gripped the community of Jalandhar, Punjab. Imagine like a peaceful town, a love triangle, a murder. And this is a story, where a passionate romance takes a very dark and deadly turn. So are you ready to kind of dive in with us?
Oh, absolutely. This case, it really exemplifies how love can just so quickly, transform into something very dangerous and destructive. It's a reminder that even in seemingly, ordinary places, darkness can lurk beneath the surface.
Okay, so let's introduce you to the key players in this whole tragic drama. We've got Jasleen Kaur, she's a young teacher, known for her warmth and kindness. We've got Sunny Singh, her lover. He was an ambitious small business owner, and Vikram Sharma, Jasleen's childhood friend. So how did these three individuals become, entangled in this web of love, jealousy, and ultimately murder?
Well, it all began back in 2017 at a friend's wedding. Jasleen and Sunny, their eyes met across a crowded room. And a spark, ignited between them. It was a whirlwind romance, full of passion and intensity. But right from the start, their love was shrouded in secrecy.
Why the secrecy? I mean, what were they hiding?
Well, Jasleen's family was very traditional. They had these conservative values, and Sunny, with his more humble background, didn't quite fit the image that they had in mind for their daughter's future husband. So this societal pressure, it kind of forced the couple to keep their relationship under wraps.
Ah, the weight of societal expectations, right?
hmm
It's so interesting how those external pressures can just create a breeding ground for tension and mistrust,
Right.
within a relationship. So did this secrecy ultimately play a role in the events that unfolded?
It most certainly did. You see, the hidden nature of their relationship just added this layer of complexity. It fueled Sunny's insecurities and possessiveness. As time went on, he became increasingly suspicious of Jasleen's friendship with Vikram. He was convinced that their bond was a threat to his love.
Okay, so we have a secret love affair, we have mounting pressure, a growing sense of jealousy. This is where the story takes a turn, right? A sinister turn.
Yes, September 14th, 2019, tragedy struck. Vikram Sharma was found murdered in his apartment. And the crime scene, oh, it was gruesome. It painted a picture of a very violent struggle, a fight fueled by just raw emotion.
Oh, that's terrible. Were the police able to identify any suspects right away?
Well, the investigation quickly focused on Jasleen and Sunny. They were, the last known visitors to Vikram's apartment. Witnesses had reported seeing them arguing with him earlier that evening.
Okay, so it sounds like the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall into place. But what about concrete evidence? Was there anything linking them directly to the crime?
Oh, absolutely. The forensic team uncovered incriminating evidence. Sunny's fingerprints were all over the crime scene. His clothes were stained with blood. On top of that, there was CCTV footage from the building's entrance that corroborated witness testimonies. This footage placed the couple at the scene around the time of the murder.
Okay, so the evidence against Sunny was mounting. But what was Jasleen's role in all of this? Did she cooperate with the investigation?
Initially, Jasleen was very reluctant to speak. Perhaps it was fear, maybe shock, or even a desire to protect Sunny. However, eventually she broke down, and she provided a very crucial statement to the police.
What did she reveal? Did her testimony kind of shed light on what transpired that night?
Jasleen admitted to being present during the altercation, but she claimed that she tried to stop Sunny from harming Vikram. Her account painted a picture of a heated argument that escalated into violence, and, Sunny just losing control in a fit of jealous rage.
So her statement painted a picture of a crime of passion. Was this the narrative that kind of emerged during the trial?
Well, the trial, it began in early 2020. It immediately captivated the nation's attention. It was a very complex case with two completely conflicting narratives. You see, the prosecution, they argued that the murder was premeditated. It was driven by Sunny's jealousy and his desire to, just eliminate Vikram from the picture, the person that he perceived as this rival for Jasleen's affections.
Right, and that aligns with all the evidence that we've discussed so far. But what about the defense? How did they try to counter this?
Well, the defense team, they focused on portraying the crime as a crime of passion. They really emphasized the intense emotional distress that Sunny was experiencing at the time. They argued that he just snapped in the heat of the moment, provoked by Vikram's presence and, Jasleen's apparent closeness to him.
So it sounds like the defense was trying to appeal to the jury's emotions, right? Like trying to paint Sunny as a man driven to the edge by love and betrayal rather than a cold-blooded killer. Did this strategy work? What was the verdict?
The jury deliberated for days. They grappled with the complexities of this whole case, and ultimately they reached a verdict that reflected the multifaceted nature of the crime. They found Sunny guilty of manslaughter. acknowledging the emotional factors at play, but also holding him accountable for his actions.
So manslaughter rather than murder, that's a significant distinction. What sentence did he receive?
He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The judge recognized the mitigating circumstances, the crime of passion aspect, but also emphasized the severity of Sunny's actions and the devastating consequences, right?
And what about Jasleen? What was her fate?
Jasleen was cleared of any wrongdoing. However, despite being legally exonerated, she was left to cope with the immense trauma of witnessing the murder and the social stigma that inevitably followed.
Yeah, it's a tragic reminder that even when justice is served, the emotional scars of an experience like that can run very deep, impacting, everyone involved. This case just raises so many questions about the complexities of love, the dangers of jealousy, the fragility of life. Yeah, it's really heartbreaking. And as we delve a little deeper into this, I can't help but wonder if this tragedy could have been prevented somehow. Were there any signs, any warning signs maybe that were missed?
Oh, that's a question that really haunts a lot of cases like this. Looking back, it's pretty clear that there were some red flags in Sunny and Jasleen's relationship, right? I mean, his possessiveness, the constant suspicion, his attempts to, isolate her from Vikram, those were all signs of toxic dynamic for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned possessiveness. I mean, for some people, a little jealousy can be seen as like passion, right? Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Between normal relationship anxieties and, truly dangerous, unhealthy behaviors.
That's a good question. That's where the whole concept of emotional intelligence comes in, right? It's that ability to understand and manage your own emotions, but also to empathize with, the emotions of others.
Okay, so how could Sunny have used, emotional intelligence? I mean, in this specific situation, what could he have done differently?
Well, if he had maybe stronger emotional intelligence, he might have recognized that his jealousy was stemming from insecurity and not genuine threats from Vikram, right? He could have talked to Jasleen openly about his feelings instead of just letting suspicion just fester.
And it sounds like communication is key. But often in these types of situations, people are just afraid to express their vulnerabilities, right? They worry that it's going to make them appear weak or push their partner away.
Oh, absolutely. But bottling up emotions, it only creates more distance and breeds resentment. In a healthy relationship, partners, they feel safe expressing their fears, and insecurities without judgment.
What about Jasleen's role in all of this? Could she have done anything differently to prevent, this tragic outcome?
Well, it's really important to remember that Jasleen was in a very, very difficult situation, right? She was trying to balance her love for Sunny with her family's expectations and her loyalty to her friend.
I can only imagine the pressure she must have felt.
Yeah.
Especially given, the cultural context of Jalandhar.
Yeah.
It's so easy to judge, right? Her choices in hindsight. But she was navigating a very complex web of relationships.
Yeah.
And societal norms.
Exactly. And maybe if she had felt empowered to just be more open with her family, about her relationship with Sunny, maybe some of that pressure could have been alleviated a little bit. And if she'd communicated more directly with Sunny about her need for friendship with Vikram, maybe the situation wouldn't have escalated to such a tragic degree.
Yeah, it seems like open communication is this recurring theme, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's essential for building trust, addressing conflict in any relationship. But it's especially crucial when you're dealing with emotions like love, jealousy, and possessiveness.
You're absolutely right. And it's not just about communication between the couple. Sometimes it takes an outside perspective to recognize the unhealthy patterns, right? This is where friends and family can play a crucial role.
So you're saying that friends and family, they often see the warning signs, right?
Yeah.
Before those involved in the relationship do.
Precisely. If someone in their circle had just noticed the unhealthy dynamic between Sunny and Jasleen, maybe they could have intervened somehow. Right. Just a simple conversation, maybe a suggestion to seek counseling. It could have made a difference.
Yeah, and it's a delicate balance, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knowing when to step in and offer support without, overstepping.
Of course. But sometimes that difficult conversation, it's just necessary. I think we all have a responsibility to look out for each other, especially when we see signs of potential danger.
So for our listeners out there who might be grappling with similar issues in their own relationships, what advice would you give them? I mean, what key takeaways can they glean from this tragic case?
First and foremost, recognize the red flags, right? Jealousy, possessiveness, control, isolation. I mean, these are not signs of love. These are signs of a toxic dynamic.
And if you do see those red flags, what's the next step?
Don't be afraid to seek help, right? Talk to a trusted friend or family member. or or even a therapist. There are resources available to help guide you towards healthier patterns in your relationship. Remember, you deserve to be in a relationship that is built on respect, trust, and open communication.
Yeah, it is a lot to process. This case, it just highlights how fine that line can be between love and obsession. And what happens, when that line gets crossed, the consequences. We've talked about Sunny and we've talked about Jasleen, but I keep thinking about Vikram. His life cut short. His family left to pick up the pieces.
It's a tragedy that ripples outward. It affects everyone connected. Vikram's family left with this agonizing question of why, and they'll likely grapple with grief and anger probably for years to come. And Sunny, even though he is serving his sentence, he's still carrying the weight of his actions. Taking a life, even in a moment of passion, it leaves a mark, a permanent mark.
It does. It's a stark reminder that actions have consequences, not just for you, but for the whole web of relationships that surrounds you.
Exactly. This case, it illuminates how interconnected our lives are, right? And it shows the importance of empathy in every interaction. You just never know how deeply your actions might affect, the people around you.
We've talked about the warning signs, the need for better communication. What about the aftermath? How do people heal from something like this, something so traumatic?
Well, healing it's a long and complex process, right? For Jasleen, even though she was cleared, of any wrongdoing, she'll likely carry the emotional scars. She might even face, I don't know, social stigma, judgment, whispers behind her back. It's essential for her to have support, to seek therapy if she needs it, to allow herself the time and space to process everything, the grief, the trauma.
And Sunny, facing years in prison, what does healing look like in that context?
Well, it's a different journey, but equally important. He has to confront what he did, take responsibility, find a way to make amends, even if it's only to himself. Remorse, rehabilitation, forgiveness, those are the pathways to healing for him.
It's hard to even imagine finding forgiveness
Yeah.
after something like that. But maybe that's what separates healing from simply moving on.
Forgiveness is powerful, but it doesn't mean you condone the actions, right? It's about letting go of the anger and resentment, allowing yourself to move forward, without being consumed by the past.
This has been a difficult case to unpack, filled with, heartbreak and complexity. But I do see some hope. By talking about these things, by shedding light on these dark corners, we can learn, we can grow, and hopefully we can prevent similar tragedies from happening.
That's the power of these deep dives, isn't it? We're not just rehashing the details. We're engaging in these conversations. We're exploring the nuances of human behavior. And ultimately, we're striving for greater understanding of ourselves and the world.
It's been eye-opening.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise with us.
It was my pleasure. I always find it rewarding to engage in these discussions and to hopefully leave our listeners with something to think about, something to, I don't know, take away, something that might make a difference in their lives.
And to our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We encourage you to continue the conversation. Share your thoughts, your questions, your insights. You can find us on all our social media platforms.
And don't forget to subscribe to CrimePod Castle. You can find us on your favorite podcast app and follow us on YouTube for more deep dives into the world of true crime.
Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, love shouldn't hurt. Choose healthy relationships, and always be willing to seek help when you need it.